Well then, what do we have here delivered from NEB today? So in our dry ice, love this stuff, we've got a site-directed mutagenesis kit for all your cloning and mutational needs.
It uses Q5 polymerase, and you just do a few rounds of PCR, and you can swap a few nucleic acids in a construct or something. There's better ways of doing this now, but it's always good to have one of these kits around. And while I'm fiddling with the package, you'll actually see in a minute it's a really basic kit. There's a few PCR reagents, and there's a whole bunch of media, and there's competent E. coli, chemically competent E. coli. Okay, so this is actually, I sent off basically everything that NEB do associated with RNA sequencing, which also includes DNA sequencing, because we convert RNA to DNA before trying to sequence it. So this is just looking at a few of those kits, and I'll be talking about them more in the future, but you know, it's Sunday, I'm being lazy, so we're going to take a look at these, get some gloves on, because ultimately I'm going to have this interacting with DNA and RNA is a bastard when it comes to RNases. So the first one we're looking at is a poly-A purification kit, pull out all the messenger RNA out of the pool of the total RNA, and in this case it's under magnetic beads. So you bind your poly-A to the magnetic beads, and then you wash away everything else, and then you just end up with your messenger RNA, which is polyadenylated, attached to magnetic beads, and you can elute your poly-A RNA off those beads, and that's a nice, relatively easy way of purifying your messenger RNA, which you want to do so you get lots of reads from the stuff you're really interested in doing sequencing, as well as lots of other methods you want purified messenger RNA. Ooh. Take a look at these. I completely failed pointing at the camera. You'll have to forgive me, it's my first time. There would be magnetic beads, and there'd be a few buffers. Really quite a simple protocol. It's in Maniartis. So that's our first kit. I'm putting it in the freezer.
I'll be back.
Okay, so this is the DNA Ultra prep kit. This helps you make your libraries for sequencing. So if you want to sequence something, you need to fragment it, you need to stick some adapters on it, and then you need to stick it in your machine. It's a bit more complicated than that. There's a lot of intermediate steps. Varies from platform to platform, so I'll go more in depth on that in the future, but that's a nice, yet another free kit from NEB. Sticking that in the freezer as well. Keep all this away from the undergrads. They can have all the cheap kits. Okay, so these are the multiplex oligos. So if you want to load multiple samples into a MESEQ run or a HiSeq run, you want to have different sequences at the beginning and end. You want to know what those sequences are, so that you can identify different fragments from different samples on the same run. And it makes things cheaper. You know, you don't need 300 million reads from one sample, so you can split them up into many. You can see in this case it actually uses the user enzyme, and that's an enzyme that cuts out a special nucleotide that's in those oligos called deoxyuracil. It detects that, cuts it out, and then you have your completed adapters with this Y-shape adapters that you need for Illumina sequencing, but we'll go into that in the future. And this is a ribosomal RNA depletion kit. It's actually another way of trying to get more messenger RNA by depleting one of the major other constituents of RNA. This works by binding to your ribosomal RNA in bulk, and then you can either pull it out or digest it, depending on the different protocols around. You know, they all have their own patents that make it able so that they can patent it and make money from us. So that's a pretty cool kit. I found it works quite well. You do have to make sure you have the right kit, because you have to know the sequences of the ribosomal RNA that you're binding to. So you need a human or a mouse kit for some organisms, and you'll need a kit that's right for the organism that you want to purify the messenger RNA of. You'll have to excuse my messy bench as we move into our final kit that we got today, which is dsDNA fragmentase, and this just randomly fragments double-stranded DNA, which is handy because sequencing only works with certain lengths of fragments. If you had a kilobase, you'd probably not get very good reads compared to having 300 or 400 base pairs, and then we stick it all back together using computers at the end of the day alongside the genome. And last of all, we've got these ice packs that NEB always sends along. I actually quite like these. You cut them apart, chuck the rest down the sink because it's non-toxic, it's not damaging to the environment. So as always, NEB do a good job of packaging, a good job of delivery, and they give me lots and lots of free samples. And this isn't sponsored or anything, you know, you can go and order these free samples yourself. So there we go. There's my flashing photometer, and I think that is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, you know, I want that AdSense. So, goodbye.